Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. It's a truck model in 1/35 scale, which might be interesting for some kind of civil diorama. And here we have a quite nice mix of the markings, which we will talk more about later. But first of all, let me mention that this is the commercial sample, so it means that's the final shape of this kit. Nothing will change and you will get exactly the same stuff if you order it, for example, from Modelimex. They should have it already available, and the kit number is 38079. So the full name of the kit is 3-ton cargo truck 3636S. So it's so-called pretty normal type, and as you can see, it's the flatbed with a wooden section below, in the rear, and the box size, I would say it's typical for such type of the kit from Miniart. So here is comparison with my hand. Then here on the side you'll find also some information about the manufacturer and also some safety devices as well. And on the opposite side you can see 6 markings, and they are quite colorful. That's what I was talking about, and I think you will definitely find something interesting to copy out of this. So this is a top opening box, and we have all frames sealed into one plastic bag, as you can see here. And also we have assembly manual on the bottom, but we will talk more about this later during the video, just like in any other video review. And here maybe it's worth also reminding you that you can find also some other videos with Miniart kits. There are a lot of interesting releases recently from this brand, so it's definitely worth checking out, and I was reviewing almost all of them, so definitely take a look at the YouTube channel, and of course subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, because it also helps me greatly and you won't miss new videos once they are out. So I'm now trying to fight the plastic bag because it's sealed, and I'm cutting it through, and it looks like now I have the success. So I will just move the plastic bag to the side. So first of all, here we have this small envelope with Miniart logo. This one is usually used for PE parts, and today's kit is not an exclusion. The only surprising thing is that the PE is without any wrapping film, because usually Miniart supplies it with the wrapping film. But as you can see here, we have a lot of parts. In 1/35 scale, they will be definitely handy for some additional features on your model. So this is something what I appreciate, because you don't have to spend extra money, you just get it as a part of the standard feature set in the box. Okay, I was just looking at this plastic sprue, but I guess I can zoom out and give you a chance to check it as well. So here we have the parts for the front cap, and I think this is one of the biggest frames in this kit. So the front cap parts division is somewhat typical or logical for this type of the kit, so you won't find any unpleasant surprises here. And the molding quality is really good. So here, by the way, we have 2 large bars for the chassis. They are molded together with the leaf springs. And here we have, for example, the wheel fenders with the steps. As you can see, there are also nice looking parts. And of course, it will be important to check the alignment of all of this stuff together, but I don't think it will be a really complex task to perform. Next, we continue with the 4 plastic frames. So here we have the wheels supplied. So unlike some other brands, Miniart prefers to use the plastic wheels, and this is really good because in 1/35 scale I think it makes difference. It makes it easier to paint and weather these parts, and as you can see, you can just assemble one wheel out of these separate sections. And if I flip it over, here inside you will find some guiding elements which will help you with alignment. And by the way, the wheel rim is still molded separately, so you can paint it separately and you don't have to use any wheel masks, again, just like in some other kits. Next, we continue with the rear wheel fenders. So they're molded as a single piece parts. This is also quite cool, and overall quality looks fine. As you can see, there are no push marks whatsoever, so it's just a matter of installing them on your truck and you'll be good to go. Okay. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue. So here we have the bonnet panels, and these ones are molded in a closed position. So I suppose we won't get the open bonnet version with this kit, but we will have to check the assembly manual. And here is another front fender which is molded together with the step. I guess it will depend, the choice of this part will depend on the version you'll pick for your truck. Next we have the sprue JB. So here we have the separate doors and also some additional elements. So here I have to zoom out a bit. As you can see, we have the radiator grille with the logo pre-molded. We have the bumper. The separate doors might be handy for showing what is inside the truck. By the way, here you can see the dashboard. And everything looks fine. A lot of small parts. So with this, I would recommend to be extra careful because there are no spare parts for these tiny bits. And this means that you don't have the second chance, so you have to be precise. And maybe it's a good idea to get the sharp tweezers for this, because otherwise it will be really tricky to get them into the right spot. Next, we continue with the sprue, which houses the suspension elements. And here, for example, you can see the leaf springs. If I zoom in, you can see what we are talking about. Here they are. And overall, again, we made the small parts. Those ones will be used for the rear bed. And those are the locks, I guess. Next, we have 2 more plastic sprues. These ones, for example, here we have the headlamp. As you can see, it's a single piece part. And also we have the brake drums. Then we continue with the various internal elements, and again some minor handles which are molded like that. And as you can see, they look okay, but the size is quite impressive. And even more impressive is that they are molded in a clean way. There is no possible molding damage or any other problem which we are usually see with such tiny bits. Next, we continue with the panels for the rear section. So these are wooden panels, but there is no wooden texture on them. They're just plain. And I think it might be actually good for some modders because they will be able to replicate what they would like to. And, well, it's definitely worth investing your time into weathering these parts because they rarely stay factory fresh. So maybe some rust, maybe some wood weathering will definitely look great on those parts. Next, we have the wheel rims. So as you remember, they are molded separately, and here they are on 2 plastic frames. Here you can check them from the opposite side. I would say it's a somewhat logical parts division, so definitely good. And next, another version of the radiator grille. And this is quite interesting. I wonder why there are several versions, so it's already 3 in total. And as you can see, we even have some logos pre-molded here. But the molding quality is really good, and it's quite impressive that those logos are replicated with the pre-molded details, not with the PE parts, just like in some other kits. So for some modders, it will simplify the assembly process because they won't have to deal with the small PE parts. Next, we have the sprue with more parts for the rear section. Again, I'm zooming out a bit. So here you can see this bed panel. Also, we have the frame for it, the supports. So overall, again, it's a pretty much standard design. We have the guiding elements on the opposite side, so it's not like you have to drill something. It is already prepared for being assembled together. But what is even more cool is that we get the engine in the standard package, so you don't have to spend any extra money for some aftermarket or maybe for some additional detail sets. It is all included in the standard box, and as you can see, it looks decent. Of course, you can also add some wiring, because wiring is not replicated in the standard packaging, but it would be strange to expect it to be replicated. And overall, I think it's a great bonus to have in 1/35 scale, because still somehow even in 2024 some manufacturers manage to skip over such features, claiming that it's very expensive to copy. Well, apparently it is not. So next we continue with the first clear plastic sprue. I would say it's the first and the last plastic sprue which is transparent here, and as you can see, molding quality is really good. I can zoom in even closer. There are no masks included, and I think for the front cap there are must-have, so you have to cut everything by your own. But the overall quality looks great, as I said before, so this is a typical thing for Miniart. Another typical thing for recent releases from them is the decals from Cartograph. So you shouldn't be worried about any printing quality issues. I just need to zoom out a bit. As you can see, we even have the separate decals depending on how the symbols are divided on the real vehicle. So this is also quite handy. And I'm trying to find some decals for the interior, but I don't see any dials, even though they were usually here. So they are included, so it's also a useful thing in this scale. And last but not the least is the assembly manual. So here I will have to close the lenses a bit and zoom out, because it's a large color printed brochure. As you can see, we have the short list of the features here. And of course, it's mentioned that there are 6 marking options. Before, I would say a long time ago, Miniart was also writing the parts count, but they don't do it anymore because parts count is now taking quite a crazy numbers, so it's better not to scare off modelers. Here we have first 2 marking options, and as I was saying, they are quite colorful. Next we continue with the parts map, which does not show the unused parts, so be careful about it. And then we continue with the chassis assembly and the engine assembly. So suspension is also getting built at the same time. Here we even have the spare wheel. As I said, there is no wiring replicated out of the box, so it might be a good idea to replicate at least the brake lines. They will be visible on the finished track, so it's good to use some references in order to copy it in this model. Next we continue with the floor panel and the dashboard, and obviously from this we start the assembly of the front cap. By the way, you still have a chance to apply the P parts onto the front grille, because this is, as you can see, the horseshoe, and well, it's your decision whether you would like to have it, because it's marked as an option and it's not obligatory for any of the marking options. Here we also have the separate doors. And then we continue with, yeah, doors can actually be assembled with open or closed window, which is also cool. Next we have the wheels assembly. So as I was saying, it's assembled out of several sections and the wheel rim is inserted in between. Then we have these separate bonnet panels, and as you can see, you can actually copy the open bonnet, and there is even... no, it's not included, but you have to use the metal wire stand in order to replicate the open bonnet holder in place. Next, we continue with the rear bed assembly. So here pretty much the same styling as in other trucks from Miniart. As you can see, some PE parts will be used for the minor handles. And then we install all of this stuff onto the main chassis. You can also open the side panels, which might be useful for some diorama ideas. Here we have 2 more marking options. Bright yellow truck, by the way. And here you can see also this shell truck and just the black one. It's a tempo work, so maybe something related to this tempo car service, and maybe you can combine it with a 3-wheeler. So overall, it's an interesting release in 1/35 scale. I think it will definitely come handy for all fans of the civil vehicles in the given size. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and